I volunteered at a prison, hoping to make a difference. Instead, I found a ghost from my past, someone I'd lost forever. The moment our eyes met, my world shattered. My own long-lost brother, behind bars. But that wasn't the biggest shock. What I discovered next about his crime, that's what truly changed everything. It all started on a crisp autumn morning in the small town of Eldridge, where the leaves painted the streets in hues of amber and gold. My name is Elena Ramirez, and at 32, I was searching for purpose. Life had been a series of mundane routines, office job by day, empty apartment by night. I'd lost my parents young, and my brother Marco had vanished when I was just a teenager. The police called it a runaway case, but I knew better. Marco wasn't the type to disappear without a trace. He was my protector, my confidant. His absence left a void that no amount of therapy could fill. That's why I decided to volunteer at Eldridge State Penitentiary. It was a way to give back, to help those society had forgotten. Maybe, in some twisted fate, I'd find a piece of myself in their stories. The prison loomed like a gray fortress on the outskirts of town, its barbed wire fences glinting under the sun. As I passed through the security checks, my heart pounded. Little did I know, this decision would unravel everything I thought I knew. The volunteer coordinator, a stern woman named Ms. Hargrove, led me to the education wing. "You'll be assisting with literacy classes," she said, her voice clipped. "Inmates here need structure. Don't get too personal." I nodded, clutching my notebook like a shield. My first class was with a group of 10 men, all in orange jumpsuits, their faces etched with hardship. I introduced myself nervously, outlining the day's lesson on basic writing skills. As they settled in, my eyes scanned the room, and then froze. There, in the back row, was a face I hadn't seen in 15 years. Marco. My brother. His hair was shorter, his build leaner from years of incarceration. But those eyes, deep brown, just like our father's, were unmistakable. Our gazes locked, and time stopped. The room faded. The murmurs of the other inmates dissolved into white noise. Marco's expression shifted from boredom to shock, then something darker. Regret? Fear? I stumbled over my words, excusing myself to the bathroom, where I splashed water on my face, convincing myself it was a hallucination. But no, it was him, my long-lost brother, behind bars. That night I couldn't sleep. Questions swirled. What had he done? Why here? And why hadn't he reached out? I resolved to confront him the next day. Quick question. Have you ever reunited with someone from your past in the most unexpected place? Think about it as we dive deeper. The following session, I arranged a private meeting under the guise of extra tutoring. Ms. Hargrove raised an eyebrow but approved it. In a small, dimly lit room with a table bolted to the floor, Marco sat across from me, handcuffs clinking softly. "Elena," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "I thought I'd never see you again." Tears welled up. "What happened to you? We searched for years." He looked away, shame etching his features. "I got mixed up in bad stuff after Mom and Dad died. Drugs, theft. It spiraled. I didn't want to drag you down. But prison? For what?" "Manslaughter," he said flatly. 10 years ago. A deal gone wrong. I didn't mean to. But the guy died." My stomach churned. Manslaughter? My brother a killer? It didn't fit the Marco I remembered, the one who bandaged my scraped knees and read me bedtime stories. But as he spoke, details emerged. A shady loan shark, a fight in self-defense, witnesses who lied. He claimed innocence, but the evidence had sealed his fate. I left that meeting shaken, promising to visit again. But doubt crept in. Was he telling the truth? Over the next weeks, I threw myself into research. Using public records, I pulled his case file. The victim was Victor Hale, a known criminal with ties to a local gang. The trial transcript painted Marco as the aggressor, but inconsistencies nagged at me. Alibis ignored, evidence mishandled. One evening, poring over documents at home, I found a name. Detective Harlan Crow, the lead investigator. Retired now, living in a nearby suburb. I tracked him down and arranged a meeting at a quiet cafe. Crow was grizzled with a perpetual scowl. "Why dredge up old dirt?" he grumbled. "Because he's my brother," I said. "And I think something's off." He sighed, sipping his coffee. "Off? Kid, the system's broken. Hale had enemies. Marco was in the wrong place, wrong time. But the DA wanted a win. Was there pressure to convict? Crow leaned in. Rumors of tampering. A witness recanted later, but it was too late. Your brother's crime? It wasn't just manslaughter. It tied into something bigger, a cover-up for a corrupt official. My pulse raced. A cover-up? This was no simple crime. It was a web of deceit. Hey, if you're enjoying this story so far, why not hit that like button, subscribe for more thrilling tales, and share it with a friend? Your support keeps the stories coming. Armed with Crow's hints, I delved deeper. I contacted the recanted witness, a former gang member named Rico, now in witness protection. Over an encrypted call, he confessed, "They paid me to lie." Hale was killed by someone higher up, Councilman Barrett. Marco was the fall guy. Councilman Barrett? The same one running for mayor, touting his anti-crime stance? It made sense. Hale had dirt on Barrett's embezzlement scheme. Marco, unwittingly involved in a minor deal, became the scapegoat. I gathered evidence. Emails, bank records, even a blurry photo from Rico showing Barrett at the scene. But who could I trust? The police? The media? Marco, in our next visit, urged caution. "Elena, drop it. These people are dangerous." But I couldn't. This was for him, for us. Danger found me first. One night, returning home, I noticed a shadow tailing me. A black SUV with tinted windows. Panic surged as I ducked into an alley, heart hammering. Was it Barrett's men? I went underground, staying with an old friend, Sarah, while piecing together a plan. We hacked into public databases, ethically of course. Sarah was a tech whiz, uncovering more Barrett's connections to the prison, influencing paroles and sentences. Then, the biggest shock. Marco wasn't just a victim. In prison, he'd uncovered proof of Barrett's involvement in a larger ring. Human trafficking disguised as rehabilitation programs. That's why they kept him locked up, denying appeals. I needed allies. I reached out to a journalist, Lena Voss, known for exposés. She was skeptical at first but bit after seeing the evidence. "This could blow the lid off City Hall," she said. Together, we infiltrated a gala where Barrett was speaking. Disguised as waitstaff, we overheard him threatening an associate. "The Ramirez kid stays buried, or we all go down." But betrayal struck. Ms. Hargrove, the coordinator, was in on it. She tipped off security and we barely escaped. Quick question. What would you do if you discovered a loved one was framed for a crime? Would you risk everything to prove their innocence? With Voss's help, we went public. A front-page article detailed the corruption, complete with documents. Chaos ensued. Protests outside the prison. Barrett's arrest imminent. In a final visit, Marco hugged me through the bars. "You did it, sis. But watch your back." The trial reopened. Witnesses came forward. Marco was exonerated, walking free after a decade lost. But the story didn't end there. Barrett's fall exposed a network spanning states. I became an advocate, fighting for the wrongfully convicted. Years later, Marco and I rebuilt our lives. He started a nonprofit for ex-inmates. I wrote a book about our ordeal. The ghost from my past became my future's foundation. Yet, in quiet moments, I wondered, what if I hadn't volunteered? Fate, it seems, has its own plans. And if this story moved you, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Let's spread awareness about injustice together.